Today is leg day. So since I've been gone, I've done quite a bit of tweaking to my training routine because, man, the skeletal muscular pain had gotten so bad. Kind of mentioned it briefly before I kind of took a long ass break. By the way, I'm happy to be back. Definitely made some changes in my training routine, especially on leg day, because your girl is quad dominant. I don't know if I'm still quad dominant. Probably so, because anytime I do leg extensions, I mean, it triggers literally every quadricep in my thighs. So basically, if you're not familiar, what quad dominance means when your anterior muscles overpower your posterior muscles. Your posterior muscles are like your glutes, your hammies, your back. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys the rundown on how I train legs nowadays from start to finish. I do have workout programs that you guys can access on my website at tonymitchell.com. Link is in the description box. All right, so at the start of my routine, I roll out my legs, more specifically my thighs, the front side of my body, since it overpowers the back side of my body. What I'm doing here is a self-myofascial technique, just ironing out any kinks in my quadriceps so that training is a bit more smoother, and it also helps to relieve any pain. And this has definitely helped me relieve the skeletal muscular issues that I was experiencing. And so basically what I do is I'll kind of bear crawl both of my legs, as you saw me do at the beginning of the clip, and then I'll go through each individual leg and roll them out until I feel like my legs are, I don't know, like pretty good to go. So I would say maybe like 10 times each leg. All right, so the next part of my routine is glute activation. It's time to warm up those booty cheeks. Warming up my gluteus maximus and getting that activated before I do leg exercises is so important. Otherwise, I don't really feel them. So right now, what you see me doing are just some glute bridge activation exercises. I kind of play around with different variations according to how I feel. But to make things a little bit more advanced, I do use a foam roll to elevate my glute bridges. I can feel it more in my glutes and in my hamstrings. The same rules apply with doing just a regular glute bridge on your feet. You want to keep your hips up. Sometimes I'll place my hands behind my lower back just for support if I am finding that my hips are dropping too low. So you want to keep your hips elevated. You want to squeeze your glutes up top and just kind of not run through the movements, just slow and controlled movements so that you are activating your glutes. Okay, so I do like activating my glutes from a different direction. So what I mean by that is, instead of laying on my back in glute bridges, I do like sitting up in tabletop and doing like kickbacks and fire hydrants. Something a little bit more movement to activate my glutes. I am going to post a glute activation routine very soon that I do. I'm not going to go into detail with it here for the sake of the video. But yeah, we are now ready to lift some weights. All right, so first exercise up, our barbell hip thrust. I always like to start off with a lighter weight to kind of warm up things, and then I progress the weight over the course of my sets. So one thing I used to do was hyperextend my hips, and that was causing hip pain over time. So what I do is I make sure that my hips stop in line with my chest, and that I'm creating a 90-degree angle with my knees, making sure that my knees are not too far out and not too far in, and also giving a little squeeze hold up top while performing each rep. All right, so on to the next exercise. I'm gonna put in my headphones for this. I have grown to love squats a lot more these days, now that I guess I got more of like a I'm more in tune with my body and like how to do them properly. So before performing a squat, I make sure that my feet are about shoulder width apart. I'm not going to go wide squats here. Feel it in my glutes a lot more whenever my feet are just about shoulder width apart, toes are facing forward, making sure that head, shoulders, knees, and hips and toes are aligned. And then I lead with my backside. So it's all mental. It's muscle mind connection, making sure that I am leading with my glutes. I don't really go that deep with my squats. I don't want to push my body too much outside of its comfort zone, because I don't want to like hurt my knees or my spine or anything like that. So I'm going to stick with what's comfortable, but doing deeper squats are definitely a goal and something that I'll work on. Oh, keep in mind that I did progress up to this weight. I didn't start off with heavy weights when I did my squats. I kind of like go up on that. All right, so I'm grabbing a set of dumbbells and we're gonna work on some single leg exercises. I'm gonna do some split lunges here. So a little tip here, you wanna make sure that your working leg is out far enough so that you can create a better range of motion. You can go a little deeper, and you also feel it. I notice I also feel it a lot more in my glutes and my hamstrings, and also protecting your knee as well. So making sure your leg is far out enough so that your knee is not going over, creating like discomfort. Then I'm going to move immediately into single leg deadlifts. In order to protect my back and to really feel the movement in my glutes and hamstrings, I stop at the bottom where my hips no longer can go back. So I don't go all the way down to like my ankles. And then whenever I am moving up top the movement, I used to hyperextend to squeeze my glutes and to feel it, but I no longer do that. So what I do now is like place majority of my weight on the working leg, and I just squeeze my glutes mid up top and hold for about a second before I perform the next repetition. All right, last exercise up. I'm gonna do some seated hip abductors. I'm gonna work the side glutes here, and I like leaning forward personally because most of the machines, the pads on the side don't align with my knees, so I don't really feel the movement as much. I have to play around with how to position my body, so just leaning forward, I can feel the movement in the side of my glutes a lot more. Being able to do a variation of both leaning forward and sitting backwards while doing seated hip abductors does target, for me, it does target slightly different muscles. Like I can feel it a little bit different in each movement, and also the way I position my feet can give off a different feel. Alrighty, so I'm done with the workout, and now I'm off to some post-workout stretches. This is so important. Stretching is so important, especially stretching out your overactive muscles, which is what I'm doing here. Basically, I'm stretching the muscles that I worked and the muscles that are overactive. So that would be my quad dominant muscles, my anterior muscles. So I'm going to be stretching my side muscles. I'm going to do some hip flexor stretches and some inner thigh stretches, and I'm going to stretch my quads here and maybe add in just a little bit of hamstrings. I do have a few stretch routine videos on my channel if you guys want to check those out and stretch with me. I have 2 hip flexor stretch routines that I like to do post workout, and those are on the channel. I'll leave those linked in the description box if you guys want to follow along with me on those. And yeah, this is pretty much the rundown on what I do from start to finish. I hope it was helpful. As always, continue to take care of yourselves, and I love you guys. See you next video. Bye.